This video will be a conversion of the Hunter from Bloodborne into a homebrew subclass for Matthew Mercer's Blood Hunter in D&D. Now, Blood Hunter may not be a core rulebook class, but I would consider it to be widely accepted as a well-established and commonly used class in 5th edition, due in part to the popularity of Critical Role, as well as the fantasy that the class portrays. The fantasy of blood magic and hunting creatures fits perfectly both into the Bloodborne setting and into D&D, and so this crossover makes a Bloodborne subclass a perfect addition to the Blood Hunter. So let's start by taking a look at the description and the first ability that you get at 3rd level when choosing this subclass.
But where's an outsider like yourself to begin? Easy, with a bit of Yharnam blood of your own. Whatever happens, you may think it all a mere bad dream.
Order of the Pale Blood. Sometimes, when undergoing the Hunter's Bane ritual, the blood responds in a unique fashion to the arcane hemocraft, taking to the alteration quicker than most. These individuals are known as Pale Blood. Pale Blood often experience nightmares of twisted beasts and esoteric eldritch abominations of the far realm. Pale Blood often appear to be quite insane, even to other blood hunters. And even the Pale Blood themselves struggle to recall if they're still dreaming or wide awake. When horrors like these become reality for the Pale Blood, it is inevitable that they begin hunting their nightmares. Beginning at 3rd level of Order of the Pale Blood, you get the ability Trick Weapons. You have modified your weapons to become better suited for hunting beasts and aberrations. You may transform a weapon you are wielding with the options below, so long as the weapon meets at least one of the required properties. Transforming or undoing a transformation requires a bonus action, and the transformation lasts until you undo it. A weapon may only be under one transformation at a time. Other creatures can't gain the benefits of your transformations. If a weapon has the Light property, this weapon gains an extra 5 feet of reach or 30 feet of range. If a Crimson Rite is active on this weapon, it gains an additional 5 feet of reach or 30 feet of range. If the weapon has the Two-Handed or Heavy property, this weapon splits apart into 2 smaller weapons with which you are proficient. These 2 weapons each deal 1d6 of the original weapon's damage type, and have the Light and Finesse properties. Both of these weapons retain any magical properties of the original weapon, and both benefit from the same Crimson Rite if one was applied to the original weapon. If a weapon has the Versatile, Finesse, or No properties, this weapon gains multiple striking points, allowing for an adaptable fighting style. When making an attack, you may choose to deal either bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage. If a Crimson Rite is active on this weapon, you may also choose to deal the same damage as the Crimson Rite instead. If the weapon has the Throne property, a steel wire connects to this weapon, allowing you to attempt a ranged grapple as part of the thrown attack with this weapon. If a Crimson Rite is active on this weapon, a creature grappled by it takes damage at the start of their turns equal to a roll of your Hemocraft die of the same type as your Crimson Rite. If the weapon has the Ammunition or Loading property, you infuse your ammunition with your own blood when attacking. When making an attack, roll one of your Hemocraft die and add half of the result to the attack roll and the full result to the damage roll. However, you also take necrotic damage equal to the full result of the Hemocraft roll. If a Crimson Rite is active on this weapon, you take half as much necrotic damage when attacking. Obviously, trick weapons are a must-have for a Bloodborne subclass, and it took many iterations to find a balance of simplicity but customization for a broad range of weapons. These trick weapon transformations are awesome, and have a ton of opportunity for flavor and description when taking your turn in combat as this character. Plus, all of the transformations are enhanced even further by your Crimson Rite, which makes this a super fun martial character for build crafting. Moving from there though, you also get another 3rd level feature when taking this subclass, though this one has a little bit less text than the last. Nightmare's Bane. The infusion of Hemocraft with your Pale Blood gives you nightmares of horrid eldritch abominations and ravenous twisted beasts. You feel compelled to hunt them in your dreams, and that bloodlust extends to your waking mind. Beasts, shape changers, and aberrations are now included as part of your Hunter's Bane. This feature allows your Hunter's Bane to not only apply to Fey, Fiends, and Undead, but now also Beasts, Shape Changers, and Aberrations. This means you will have advantage to track those creatures, but will also have some more implications later in this subclass. Now I will say the term Beast means different things depending on the setting. While Beast in Bloodborne is used for horrifying creatures and lycanthropes, in D&D, even a harmless little bunny can be counted as a beast.
I warned you, but did you listen to me? Oh, no, you knew it all, didn't you? Oh, it's just a harmless little bunny, isn't it? Well, it's always the same. I always tell them do they...
So I included Shape Changer here because in D&D, Shape Changers are a bit closer to what Bloodborne means by it when they say beast, with lycanthropes in D&D falling directly under that term. Of course, Aberrations are a perfect fit, as Aberrations are D&D's version of cosmic horror. Speaking of that, leave a comment if you'd be interested in a Bloodborne monster stat block video. Anyways, moving on to 7th level, we have another feature, and this one is going to again improve our capabilities as a martial class. Blood Fortified. Your connection with the arcana of your pale blood grants you blood fortifications for your weapon. At the end of a short or long rest, you may choose to imbue one weapon with one of the following benefits. The weapon retains these benefits until your next short or long rest. You may only have one weapon blood fortified at any given time. Other creatures cannot benefit from these fortifications. When you activate a Crimson Rite on a weapon, you may choose to move your blood fortification to this weapon if it does not have it, and you may choose to swap out your fortification for a different one. Bloodletting. When a creature damages you, you may use this weapon to make an attack as a reaction against that creature. If you successfully hit the creature with this reaction, you heal for half the damage you took from the triggering attack. Dreaded. You may add an additional Hemocraft die to damage rolls with this weapon if the target of your attack is a Fey, Fiend, Undead, Beast, Shape Changer, or Aberration. Marking. After successfully attacking a creature with this weapon, you have advantage on opportunity attacks against that creature with this weapon until the start of your next turn. Additionally, opportunity attacks with this weapon made against a creature that has been marked by your brand of castigation does not require or expend a reaction. Visceral. When you have advantage to hit a creature, and do so with this weapon, you may reroll any 1s or 2s on the damage dice of the attack and choose the higher of the two results. This applies to the entire attack's damage, including any magical or Crimson Rite damage. So these new options to add to your weapons are going to further enhance your customization, and the idea here really being that you want to enhance your aggression and martial capabilities as a blood hunter. You may notice that the bloodletting fortification here is representing the rally mechanic from Bloodborne, that allows you to strike an enemy after being struck to gain back some health. The visceral fortification is also attempting to represent the visceral attacks from Bloodborne that you get after breaking an enemy's posture and then striking them. So next on the list we have our 11th level feature as part of this subclass. And this feature is one of my favorites, so let's dig in. Madman's Knowledge. Anytime you succeed at a Hunter's Bane check, Grim Psychometry check, or land the killing blow on a creature that falls under your Hunter's Bane, you gain 1 level of Insight. While you have Insight, each time you finish a long rest, you must make a saving throw using your Hemocraft modifier stat, with a DC of 12 plus your level of Insight when starting the rest. If you fail, roll on the Madness table outlined in the Dungeon Master's Guide based on how much Insight you had when starting the rest. Roll on the Short-Term Madness table for 1, 2, or 3 levels of Insight. Roll on the Long-Term Madness table for 4 levels of Insight. Roll on the Indefinite Madness table for 5 levels of Insight. Whenever you finish a long rest, you lose 1 level of Insight. While having 1 level of Insight, you have advantage on Perception and Investigation checks. Additionally, you cannot be surprised. With 2 levels of Insight, you have advantage on saving throws against magical effects from creatures that fall under your Hunter's Bane. With 3 levels of Insight, you know the distance and direction of any creatures within 1 mile of you that fall under your Hunter's Bane. At 4 levels of Insight, you gain the benefits of the True Seeing spell. And at 5 levels of Insight, you gain the benefits of the Detect Thoughts spell. So this feature is named directly after the Madman's Knowledge item in Bloodborne, and that item grants you a currency called Insight that you also gain from defeating powerful enemies. While playing Bloodborne, having more insight will reveal the secrets of the world to you, like invisible creatures and inaudible sounds. The same can be done with this Paleblood feature. This feature has a ton of roleplay and character flavor opportunities, as your character gets these new abilities but suffers from varying levels of madness that last longer based on the amount of insight you have. If you've never seen the madness tables in the Dungeon Master's Guide, that doesn't surprise me. It's a very unused part of the D&D core rules, and just to give you an idea of what's on these tables, you could wake up paralyzed. You might wake up thinking that you're under the effects of some random potion you didn't drink, or you may even wake up and permanently believe that you have an invisible best friend that only you can see. So be prepared to roleplay some insanity when you reach this level. Also, the way you earn insight means that when your party is in places where your Hunter's Bane creatures exist, you have many more opportunities to collect insight. This will really let you play into the concept of your character going crazy from the beasts that you hunt. Now at 15th level we get another feature, and this one is going to be a new blood curse for our Blood Maledict ability. At 15th level you hone your Hemocraft to curse your foes with the blood sickness of a ravenous beast. You gain the blood curse of Yharnam for your Blood Maledict feature. This doesn't count against the number of blood curses you know. Blood Curse of Yharnam. As a bonus action, you cause a creature within 30 feet of you to become bestial and erratic. If the creature's intelligence score is higher than 6, it is reduced to a 6. The cursed creature can no longer distinguish friend from foe, and must make attacks at random targets. For the duration of this curse, the creature is also considered to be a beast. The cursed creature can make a wisdom saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the curse on itself on a success. If you amplify the cursed creature fears fire and is frightened by any source of it. If a creature is holding or wearing an object on fire, or otherwise has some source of fire within their space, the cursed creature is frightened of them. So this blood curse will allow you to essentially turn any creature into a beast. They not only get dumber and act like a beast, but they also register as a beast, meaning that if they weren't on your Hunter's Bane list before, they are now. When you amplify the curse, the target also becomes afraid of fire, which works perfectly in tandem with your Rite of the Flame from the Crimson Rite. So finally, we get to our last ability as part of the Order of the Paleblood at 18th level. This ability is a bit of a shorter one, but still quite potent. On the Hunt. You may now have 2 blood fortifications active at once, either both on the same weapon or on 2 different weapons. You also gain 2 insight instead of 1 when gaining insight. Finally, all blood curses you apply to creatures that fall under your Hunter's Bane are amplified, and you do not take any damage for this type of amplification. So this final ability is going to push many of the things you have further. Double blood fortifications, 100% more insight per insight, and now your blood curses are amplified for free when cursing a Fey, Fiend, Undead, Beast, Shapechanger, or Aberration. So, that was the Bloodborne subclass, Order of the Paleblood for Blood Hunters in D&D 5e. Leave a like if you want to see more of these. Also, let me know in the comments if Bloodborne monsters is something you want to see. With all that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in Yharnam.